Thank you for choosing to install the Carbontec heating system. Welcome to our team of certified installers. In this video, we will be providing the information required to successfully plan, install, and register our Carbontec radiant heating system. Before any material can be measured and cut, there are a few pre-installation items installers must be aware of. Step 1. Discuss with the customer whether this will be an underfloor installation, ceiling installation, or both. Step 2. Discuss with the customer where they were planning on installing the Carbontec heating system. Please note, outdoor areas and wet areas are prohibited. Step 3. Look over the area of where the customer wants their heating system. Take into account the distance between the desired heating area and where the nearest AC power supply box is located. Step 4. Sketch out a floor plan, marking on it where the following items will be installed: heater strips, electrical supply lines, conduits, controller placement, and transformer placement. Ensure that the floor plan is as accurate as possible and kept as a record with the home. It will serve as a reference document for any changes for property owners or renters. For underfloor installation, discuss floor covering options with the customer. Take into account material thickness, thermal conductivity, and heat resistance values. Please note, no thick carpeting or material with a heat resistance value over 1.0. Now that you have discussed and planned the installation, let's go over the items required for installation. In your Carbontec Radiant Heat Kit, you will be provided the following: Carbontec material, UL listed crimps, UL listed transformer, installation manual, warning stickers. Other required items for installation are 10 and 12 gauge wires, electrical tape, wire connectors, plaster or mortar or tile adhesive, controller, which may be a light switch, mechanical timer, dimmer, or thermostat. Tools required for installation are scissors, crimping tool, voltmeter, screwdriver, thermometer gun, wire strippers, putty knife or trowel, wall stud finder. Now that you have properly planned and have the necessary items for installation, let's begin. Before any work can be started, disconnect the relevant building circuit breakers. Mount the transformer in a suitable location capable of supporting the weight of the transformer using the 2 keyholes on the upper tab. If you are mounting the transformer onto a framed wall, ensure that at least one of the mounting points on the enclosure is mounted to a wall stud using appropriately sized screws. If you are mounting to concrete, brick, mortar, or stone, use the appropriate anchor to secure the mounting screws in the wall. Mount transformer vertically with the wiring compartment down and with the switches in the off position. Ensure that the transformer is placed and mounted where a technician or licensed electrician can access it easily for system checks or troubleshooting issues. Install UL listed controller at an intermediate location between the transformer and the AC power supply using the installation instruction included with the controller. If the customer wants to use a thermostat to control the Carbontec heating system, ensure that the thermostat is rated for 110 volts. Prepare the selected area for installation. For ceiling installation, ensure that the surface is flat, dry, and smooth. Do not install over any texturing finishes. For underfloor installations, ensure that the subflooring is flat, dry, and free of any sharp metal objects that may penetrate heat film. In certain circumstances, the surface may need to be evened out beforehand with plaster or level compound. Do not install heating film above or below expansion joints. Measure and cut Carbontec material for the intended area. Ensure that your cuts are perpendicular to the copper strips. When installing multiple strips, be sure to have at least 2 inches spacing between heater strips. Crimp on splice connectors onto material's copper conducting strips. Splice connectors can be crimped to the copper conducting strips using regular slip joint pliers, linesman pliers, or similar pliers with wide flat noses. To ensure the best contact, verify that the crimped connector plates are parallel and the other surfaces are 1/8 inch apart or less. For best results, use a professional crimping tool. Take an electrical resistance reading from the contact points. Electrical resistance level must be measured at the crimped contact points and must be documented for guarantee claim purposes before and after installation and plaster. Record resistance value in the last section of the installation manual. Before any plaster is set, drill pass-through holes into drywall and studs to allow for routing the heater supply wire. For ceiling installation, pass-through holes should be spaced at least 1.6 inches from crimped heater strip placement to allow bending for the heater wire. Additionally, small indentations can be made into drywall in order for flush installation onto ceiling surface. For underfloor installations, pass-through holes can be made into the wall closest to the crimped heater strips. Pass-through holes should be made approximately 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch. Any wire that does not end up embedded in the plaster must be routed through a UL-listed conduit. Apply mortar onto surface. For ceiling installations, apply at least 0.7 millimeters layer of plaster. For underfloor installation, apply a layer of plaster at 16 to 28 millimeters thick. Immediately place heater strip into mortar or plaster while it is still wet, using a putty knife or trowel. Ensure to keep contact points out of the bed of plaster for now. Apply a thin layer of plaster over heater. For ceiling installations, the top layer should be approximately 10 millimeters thick. For underfloor installations, the top layer should be approximately 3 millimeters thick. Make the top layer as smooth as possible. Take an electrical resistance reading from the crimp contact points and record level in the back of the installation manual. If the resistance values are unchanged, proceed to crimp heater supply wire onto crimped contact points. It is important to note, if the final resistant value differs more than 10% from the original level, expect damage to the contact points or the heater film. Do not put the heating system into operation in this case. Strip insulation off the ends of the 10-gauge wiring, approximately 6.35 millimeters. Crimp 10-gauge wiring onto splice connector that is already crimped onto copper conducting strip on heater film. Wrap splice connector completely with electrical tape. Gently press heater crimped connectors, wiring, and tape into the bed of plaster and apply top layer of plaster to cover. Route heater cables from heater film segments to the load terminals on the installed terminal block in the transformer. Ensure that all wiring is run through the UL-listed conduits. Connect the heat supply wires to the transformer load terminals. Ensure that the heat strip is connected to both a common and 24-volt AC terminal. Be sure that all 24-volt AC terminals are wired with the same color, and that the common terminals are wired with a contrasting color wire. Tighten terminal set screws. Connect the transformer black live wire to the black 12-gauge AC source wire using a UL-listed insulated wire slice connector or wire connector. If installing a controller, run 12-gauge AC source to the live load terminal on the controller, according to the instructions included with the controller. Allow plaster or mortar to be dried in accordance with the instructions issued by the mortar or plaster manufacturer. Do not power on Carbontec heating system until at least 24 hours after installation. Restore power with the building's relevant circuit breakers. After restoring power, flip the transformer switch to the on position. Follow the instructions included with controller to supply power to heat strips. Check for voltage readings from terminal load terminals to ensure voltage is being supplied to heater strips. Use thermometer gun to register a temperature increase from heater strip placement. Add up the total length of heater strips attached to the transformer, then multiply this length by 20.3 watts and document the information in the back of the installation manual. Install warning sticker near a visible place near the transformer and where heater strips are located. Fill out all pertinent information about the project in the back of the installation manual. Please visit www.carbontec.world with all of the information of your project written in your installation manual to register the product.